Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to the channel. I hope that you all are having a fantastic day. It is 10:17 on a Saturday morning and it's a beautiful day out there. Took a walk with everyone earlier. It was a little humid, but it was okay, even though by the time I got back, it was super sweaty. But anyways, you're not here to hear about my walk or my morning, but what you are here for is a full album reaction of New Order's album Low Life. This is their third studio album, which was released in 1985. Some of you that had mentioned / recommended / the album was just featured in a comment that you made at some points in the past are Ariadne, Stony Bass, Chapel Wood, Jeremy B, Tor Theater, Simply PSI. Thank you guys so much for the recommendations / suggestions / like I said, you must have just mentioned this album at some point in a comment. Sometimes it doesn't always come together that way, but that's how it came together today. This is how it looks to me. I search Low Life New Order, and this is how I see what comes up. So anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm excited to give this one a listen. I've had it on my list for a little bit, along with 261 other albums. And now it's time to dive into it. And I hope that you guys are doing well, maybe looking forward to it. It's been a little bit since we've listened to New Order, and so I figured it was time to return to the band a little bit here. Let's get the plugs out the way. The Buy Me a Coffee's there. If you have a specific song request and you want to skip the line and get it out there and have me listen to it, you can do it that way. The Patreon for exclusive content. And as always, if you don't mind just pressing that like button before we move forward. Sharing helps a great deal as well. All of that other fun stuff. Subscribing, sure, if you're interested in the future. But at least the like button, it does help greatly. Anyways, that's kind of all I have as way of an introduction. It's supposed to storm crazy in about 2 hours. So before we get crazy storms and the power starts to flicker, let's go ahead and begin. Dive into it. I did not make a cup of coffee or anything to go alongside my listen today, as I usually do, because I cannot tell you what it is, but for some reason, there's something strange happening in my stomach, and it's not liking a lot of things right now. So we'll just stick with water at this moment. All right, the first track is going to be Love Vigilantes. Let's go ahead and dive in. And as always, my friends, this is to you. Hope that you guys are having a nice day out there, like, wherever you are, and hope that this is going to be a good album listen just to go along with your day so far. Okay, here we go. Already catchy with that melody in the first 10 seconds.
With our soldiers so brave, your freedom we will save. With our rifles and grenades and some help from God. I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. Got to go home, I've been so alone, you see. You just can't believe the joy I did receive when I finally got my leave and I was going home.
It does have a folky aspect,
I
right?
flew through the sky, my convictions could not lie. For my country I would die, and I will see it soon. I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. Got to go home, I've been so alone, you see.
great way to open up.
My wife and child waiting for me. I've got to go home. I've been so alone, you see. I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. I've got to go home. I've been so alone, you see.
It's so like
I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. I've got to go home. I've been so alone, you see.
scratchy ending. Well, that's a great opening for the album. The most interesting thing to me out of that is how the guitar and kind of the mood of the track kind of carries a little bit of a folk effort to it, and in specifically the way the guitar is playing in some of those notes that kind of follows the vocal melody from Bernard Sumner here, or he's following the melody, I should say, from the guitar. And it kind of interestingly combines a few elements from folk and puts it, of course, into this post-punk track that it is. And the other thing that comes out to me in mind is how melodic Sumner sounds here. I think it's so incredibly catchy how he sings. It just immediately hooks you into the music. Vocally, it has this catchiness to it that I see that this is quite an often streamed song, 19 million streams on this one. And it definitely has a bit of that mainstream appeal to it as well. So it's one of those tracks that I feel would grab audiences in a general sense, but also kind of hook maybe people that have been following New Order and perhaps by chance and by association Joy Division as well. And I think that it kind of carries everything really nicely. I love how the guitar eventually becomes even more fulfilled and catchier as it goes into the back half of the track. Let me pull this up here really quick. Let's see. So in the beginning, it went on to the next track here. In the beginning, starts following the vocal melody. I love that. That's something like it just catches you. And the way that Bernard's singing, like that note that he holds there, I don't know why, but I'm thinking of someone on the mountains and singing out in kind of this folky way. I don't know, just singing to nature and singing to the mountains and singing their heart out to, the trees and the woods and the forest, as that will be the only audience captivated. I don't know, there's just something about it. It's incredibly catchy. But I love this melody here. And how we get a little choppiness in the guitar, a little more abrasive effort there. In the beginning, it has this really nice, I feel like, I feel like beneath the bass, there's almost like this synth, maybe a synth bass or like a deeper note held on the synth. I feel like there's something back there from Gilbert, but I could be mistaken. Well, Gillian Gilbert and Stephen Morris are credited with synthesizers, but Morris is obviously drumming here as well, so I think he's more busy on that particular end of things. Let's look at the lyrics here, huh? It's a great opening track for the album. Sets a really great stage. Oh, I've just come from the land of the sun, from a war that must be won. In the name of truth, with our soldiers so brave, your freedom we will save, with our rifles and grenades, and some help from God. I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. Gotta go home, I've been so alone, you see. You just can't believe the joy I did receive when I finally got my leave and I was going home. Oh, I flew through the sky, my convictions could not lie. For my country, I would die, and I will see it soon. I mean, this is just about a soldier returning from a war, from battle, and he's finally getting to go home. I want to see my family, my wife and child waiting for me. Gotta go home, I've been so alone. When I walked through the door, my wife, she lay upon the floor, and with tears her eyes were sore. I did not know why. And I looked into her hand, and I saw the telegram said that I was brave, brave man, but that I was dead. I wasn't even following the lyrics. I actually was not following the lyrics. What a twist! I was not. Wow. He's a ghost. I, I I'm sorry. I was not following the lyrics at all, and that just took me by surprise because I thought, wow, this is going to be one of those tracks that has a happy ending. Wow, how hard hitting was that? Everything seemed to be going good, and I know sometimes like songs will have that twist in there, like we listened to recently with ELP. But wow, let's look at the Wikipedia article for this one. First appeared as the opening track on the album. It's a departure from their usual style in many ways. All music described as at its core, a campfire sing-alongs, decidedly pop, and shows inspiration from American country and folk music. Got 'em. Ranked 9th in a list of the 10 best New Order songs. According to Sumner himself, it's one of the few songs for which he started out wanting to tell a story, as opposed to his usual method where he would first listen to a newly composed piece before writing lyrics to match the mood. Having decided to write a redneck song, his lyrics tell a rather tongue-in-cheek tale of a soldier returning home from Vietnam, only to find his wife had received a telegram informing her that he had died. He relates that the ending is open to interpretation. Either the soldier had actually died and returns as a ghost, which is what I'm at least initially thinking, or it was sent mistakenly and he's quite alive. Either way, he finds her lying on the floor having committed suicide with the telegram in her hand, an ending Sumner describes as a very country tragedy. I didn't even catch that she killed herself. Then I looked in her hand and saw a telegram. I mean, with tears in her eyes were sore. I didn't catch that part. Oh, wow. Huh. Foregoes mostly electronics that otherwise define their typical sound. The music's built upon multiple hooks, starting with the intro theme. Yeah, we got all that. Lot of covers from this band, or this track rather. That's a fantastic opening. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be The Perfect Kiss. Nice. We're gonna play that again.
I stood there beside myself, thinking hard about the weather. Thinking about a friend of mine suggested we go out together. Then I knew it from the start, this friend of mine would fall apart. Pretending not to see his guilt, I said, let's go out and have some fun. I know you know
Oh,
we believe in a land of love. I know you know we believe in a land of love.
oh, this is the one. It's like show lights.
I have always thought about slipping in and going out. Tonight I should have stayed at home, playing with my precious song. He has always been so strange. I often thought he was
Man, I know we're 2 tracks in, but could I say that this is possibly going to be the best song? But I'm very excited to see where this thing goes. Drumming and percussion is great. It's kind of going back to the beginning. Some frogs. Taking this party to the jungle. This is the club hit. That line right there behind it, that's very Joy Division. Yeah, that guitar is very Joy Division. I mean, it doesn't matter right now, but is that going to be the best track on the album? Can I play the first 10 seconds or so of this? Let's just examine that. Percussion. Light. Kind of panning a little bit, but nicely produced, right? And then transform into big drum fill. Panning synth, and just show light. The spotlights coming down. That is a fantastic opening in 12 seconds. That is perfect. Can I the perfect kiss. Can I do something really quick? Can I go in my comments? I want to see if anyone's recommended this track. New Order, Perfect Kiss, because you guys get stars if you've mentioned this track. I almost ended the recording. New Order, Perfect Kiss. Astro Verdron. There you go. 047, I see you. Music Droog, you got your hearts. Wanderson Oliveira, Floor Ticket. MJP Matos. There may be more, but if I just put in Perfect Kiss, it's going to probably bring in more other. That's a perfect song. That is. And that is the club hit. Are you crazy? Are you kidding me? Let's not look it up just yet. But that's probably going to be a big single from the album. That feels like you could put that in a club right now. Put on Goth Night, Punk Night, Any Night, Your Night, My Night. Daylight Star Bright, you can put that on. It's going to hit no matter who you are or where you are. I love the ending of it because that guitar line at the end that it works its way into, I'm pulling it back up here, is very original Joy Division. That is super like old Joy Division. I think that's so cool. And you hear that combination with obviously the synth pop that they've thrown this track into. And it's cool to hear both facets of that in this particular evolution of the band. Catchy vocals, pulsing synths and bass underneath everything. I love the percussion and the drumming as well and how that works together so well. Obviously, we got the perfect mix-up of that in the very beginning, but that just continues on through this track. The synths are grand as well. Like I said, it's just like spotlights. Like, can I tell you what... I don't know if I can find it real quick. Can I tell you what the beginning sounds like to me? I'm not going to pull up a video, but like, think about some red carpet event, right? It's nighttime, paparazzi and audiences are on the sidelines and whatever, taking pictures. A limo pulls up. And the beginning of this track is when the cameras start flashing and someone exits the vehicle. Right here. Oh my gosh, let me get a picture. Like it's just so exciting. I know that's really silly, and I even pulled up red carpet just to, but like that's the imagery again. It's just flashing lights, and I ain't talking like it's just flashing lights all over. Like that's an exciting opening track, or not opening track, but exciting track from the band, and I feel like this is a high mark. We have a few more to go, and we're very early in, but I feel like this is a huge high mark in the album already. This is really, really good. I stood there beside myself, thinking hard about the weather. Then came a friend of mine, suggested we go out together. Then I knew it from the start, this friend of mine would fall apart. Pretending not to see his gun, I said, let's go out and have some fun. I know you believe in a land of love. You know we believe in a land of love. I've always thought about staying here and going out. Tonight I should have stayed home, playing with my pleasure zone. He has always been so strange. I often thought he was deranged. Pretending not to see his gun, I said, let's go out and have some fun. And then it just cuts out. I know we believe in a land of love. Something happened and should have stayed home that night. Shouldn't have gone out with him. You know how sometimes you have that crazy friend? Yeah, that you should not have gone out, apparently. It's the 9th single from the band, recorded in Britannia Rose Studios. It's the first New Order song to be released as a single, while also included on a studio album. The song's themes include love, we believe in a land of love, and death. The perfect kiss is death. The overall meaning of the song is unclear to its writer today. In an interview, Bernard Sumner said, I haven't got a clue what it's about. He agreed with the interviewer that his best-known lyric in this song is pretending not to see his gun. The lyric, he added, came about after the band was visiting a man's house in the U.S. who showed his guns under his bed before they went out for an enjoyable night. I gotta say, if you want to stereotype an American, yeah, that is the way to do it. It is quickly written, recorded, and mixed without sleep before the band went on tour in Australia. This is a perfect track. Here's your chart information: 85 in Australia, 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in the UK, 46 UK singles, and 5 in the dance club songs and single sales. What was number 1 when this released then? Man, that's playlist worthy. I'm putting it on my playlist, but that's a really fantastic track. All right, let's move on to the next one here. This Time of Night. Oh, we're getting club after club hit, aren't we? They're making some perfect songs here. The piano lightens things up really nicely. This murky, darker dance track. Ending on that deep chorus.
Now you must decide what goods to lie when you've nothing to hide. Marks they'll never show. They're down like you, they never know. It's time we said goodbye. Bury your head and silence your cry. Know the fear of pain. Join our world and play our game. Without you, they'll never know. Without you, my life won't grow. Without you, they'll never show. Without you, the night won't go. Without you, I'm left alone. Without you, I'm on my own. Without you, my life's a waste. Just for you, I set my face. Without you, I'm left alone. Without you, I'm on my own. Without you,
They make a great use of all the drums and percussion.
without you, I've gone
We're still in the club with this song. I really like how, at least in these songs here, as synthy as it gets, and as to me, dance pop hit as it feels in many ways. I like how there's never a loss of who they are. There's never a loss of their identity, where they came from. And once again, I'm still getting that really fantastic mix of the guitar with the synth, especially in the ending, but even near the beginning, first third of this track, and how the synth and the guitar were kind of going back and forth a little bit. I like how that's still there. The essence of Joy Division and that sound has never left. It's just changed. It's just evolved. Whether you like the evolution or not, whether you like the change or not, that's up for debate. But as it is, I think that it's kind of undeniable that they've taken their sound and just continue to grow into it, expand into it. Of course, bringing in all the synths and kind of moving in a different direction here. This track is so cool. I love how murky it is. And once again, that use of all the different percussion, the drum sounds. Listening to this and how they play and perform and program in many ways, the drums here, it makes me think of Genesis when not only Phil was playing, but also Chester, and how you would have shows with two drummers performing and they'd have drum solos and kind of work off of each other in certain songs. It reminds me of this. And I wonder if live, if they ever had two drummers, or at least a drummer and a percussionist, to kind of play these tracks, because I think that it would work really well in a live setting and kind of bringing that to life and making the machine, the synths and the programming work with the human, the man, and putting that all together. I love how there's a sense of beautiful desperation in the way that Sumner sings here. Not this part, but he's kind of crying out here. That was more important. When he sings on a lighter tone, there's something very desire, I want something, almost like a lust. And it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, this kind of reminds me of Depeche Mode a little bit. Now that I'm Now that I'm listening to this, and maybe it's just because I have a little Black Celebration like recency bias, but this is kind of hitting that similar place. But yeah, the pulse and the synths never lit up. It's rhythmic in a very, very pleasurable way.
Down like
I love that pulse. Always bubbling under there. It's really a fantastic track. And I didn't even mention, by the way, I forgot to mention in the previous track, that space where the frogs come out of nowhere. Totally forgot about that. Here, where was it? There. I totally forgot to mention the quiet shift from the club to the jungle and the frogs that came out, and such a cool moment to have this ambience kind of out of nowhere, and then it works its way back into the song like normal, like nothing ever happened. Like I've heard from, of bar hopping, moving from club to club. Never heard of moving from the club to the jungle. But it works, doesn't it? I'm one of the few people who live what's called a low life. Is that staying on the down low, trying to just, blend into the crowd, not trying to gain too much attention? We all feel the same. All pleasure, nothing to gain. I've known you from the start. I've grown used to your wooden heart. Now you know my name. You search your empty brain in vain. If you don't change your ways, you'll end up here with me unraised. Without you, they'll never know. Without you, my life won't flow. Without you, they'll never show. Without you, the night won't go. Without you, I'm left alone. Without you, I'm on my own. Without you, I live in pain. Without you, I've gone insane. Now you must decide what good's a lie when you've nothing to hide. Maps they'll never show. They're dumb like you, they never know. Something that even a map can't find. It's time we said goodbye. Bury your head and silence your cry. Know the feel of pain. Join our world and play our game. This time of night. If you search your empty brain in vain, you don't change your ways, you'll end up here with me unraised. Or maybe he's calling himself a low life in a derogatory sense. And he's saying, like, if you end up with me, if you stay with me, you're gonna be a low life as well. You're gonna lower yourself to the level I am. Maybe. And so maybe he's actually trying to, this is how I'm interpreting it, break up with her, but in a helpful way, like trying to get her not to be dragged down into the mud of his life, so to speak, and kind of, saving her in a way. I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe not. Let's move on to the next track here, which ends this particular side of the album, and we're ending at sunrise. That's kind of ominous. That's a Joy Division baseline. That really is. That synth got lowered a lot too in the production side. It's been mixed down. It's a great bass line.
I've been waiting to hear your voice for too long now.
This
One-way conversations feel awkward somehow. Tell me, how does one get your soul in touch with the wrong one? When one-way conversations pay a price for someone. I tried so hard last night, you would not talk to me.
is Sunrise Ascent and guitar.
Why did you never speak my name in front of my family? You gave me a gift that you then took away. Are you ever gonna be before? Your name I forgot, but you don't say that much to me. Your name I forgot, but you don't say that much to me. We might have been your black sheep, but you forgot us a long time ago. We might be your lost sheep, but it's time you remember us now.
High octane. Oh, look at that. That ascending guitarist. So like euphoric. That's just chaotic. I like how this is their song of just rocking out. You know what this track is? This is the track that this is my mind canon. This is the track that New Order said, listen to the fans. The fans are some of the fans, some of the critics are saying, "Oh, we don't have it anymore." You know, Joy Division. Oh, they changed to New Order, and it's just not the same. It's just they've gone all this synth pop and all. This is the track that they say, "Zip it, zip, zip." Remember Dr. Evil? Zip. Nope. Zip it. This is them going back to those roots and hitting it. This is them taking that original style and just aggressively going for it. And you can't tell me this doesn't sound absolutely fantastic. Great opening, sustained chords with the synth, the melody. Set it up. It's beautiful. Simply put, simply performed, but beautiful nonetheless. Then you have Hook's bass line that comes on top of that, and it moves in this really wonderful way. And I don't know about you, but I'm of the mindset of when that happens, I'm like, okay, we're getting a really great setup for something. And this is a really great scene setter, but where are we going to go from here? Don't ruin it. Don't take it away. And as soon as the rest of the band comes in, drums and guitar, it kicks it off. And it just starts from that moment forward, never letting it up, never letting its foot off the gas. It's just 0 to 60, and it never relents. This is a really fantastic track. And I love all of Sumner's guitar work through here because there's times where he plays kind of a really cool, catchy, playing on the chords and just kind of riffing alongside of the music, of course. But then later on, it becomes more chaotic. It kind of goes back and forth between fun and bouncy and frantic and chaotic. And he's kind of working himself in between the two. Vocally as well, this is the closest I would say to Joy Division and that original vocal style, but pushed out with just, I would say, a little bit more of a lighter melody, a little bit of that slice, and a little bit more outward, but still very much rooted. This is, I think, really another big standout track. Like, we're 4 tracks in, and Sunrise and Perfect Kiss are very easily my favorite so far, and every song has been great. There hasn't been a bad song so far, but this could be a very tight album depending on how the second half of this ends up going. But for the first half, we're in a really good place. We're in a really, really good place so far. Can I pull up Sunrise here really quick? Opening's great, but like I said, it's dark and moody. I want to get to that bass line. Come on, that's a classic sound. And then the eagle cries. Never lets up from here. And even the notes that they choose, that particular scale, like, doesn't it feel so fitting? This ends the first side of the album, but without knowledge of where the rest of this album is going to go, this would also just be very fitting as the finale to the album. It just has a really beautiful sense of closure, I think, and it goes on. And you know what I like also? For me, for a first listen, by, let's just say, about 3 minutes or so, I feel like the track said quite a bit and it could have stopped and I would have been satisfied. But it kept going. Now, for me, I'm only speaking to myself. There's a chance that the track could keep going and now diminish what had happened before, weaken it, and I would kind of get into that place of, okay, let's wrap things up. I've heard it. I know where we're going. But there's something about this track that for the next 3 minutes or however I felt, it just keeps that energy going and it feels great. I love where it goes. And I think because they do include a little bit of that streamlined diversity, I would say, where they're still keeping the groove, keeping the pocket, keeping a lot of things focused, but they change little things. For example, the way the Sumner, like I said, plays guitar. He kind of provides a little bit of variety in there. Not so much like he goes from this kind of solo into this kind of pedal to this kind of sound. Not like that. But the way he plays, it kind of has a dynamic sound to it and movement to it. Especially chaos. Let's get to it. Like, even including the spin, right? It's just keep it entertaining. And it wraps things up in a really beautiful way. I think that, like I said, this is another perfect track on the album, and if this was the end, it'd be very fitting. I've been waiting to hear your voice for too long now. One-word conversations do not work somehow. That's for sure. Tell me, how does one get your soul in touch with the one above when one-way conversations pay a price for the use of love? I like that. I tried so hard last night, you would not talk to me. I live with the fear of the few with the gift, and I know what's going to be. He already knows how this is going to end up. Why did you never speak my name in front of your family, or my family rather? You gave me a gift that you then took away like you never did before. Your name might be God, but you don't say that much to me. Your name might be God, you don't say that much to me. We might be your black sheep, but you forgot us a long time ago. We might be your lost sheep, but it's time you remembered us now. Saying, hey, time you remember the little people down here. As we spend our days together, nothing can go wrong. No one told the truth about it because it was so strong. If you ever think of me, if you ever hear my name, if you read between the lines, you'll hang your head in shame. These ears will never hear, the ice will never freeze. Whatever I have done for you, I did because you complained. Whatever you may think of me, whatever you may say, I've lived my whole life in danger. Can I tell you? I don't know. I actually am kind of reading this track in two ways. One, he's having a conversation with God. He's saying what may be his last prayer, basically, and he's just like, "You've never listened to me. You don't hear me. This is like a one-way conversation. What's happening? Like, I need something." But there's also lines in here that kind of make me think that he's also talking about a relationship. But I'm thinking more of a romantic relationship. But I think I'm more wrong on that second side of things. But besides some of the more lines that are more literal, I think that this could be applied to both ways. A conversation with anyone, God or whoever you're in a relationship with, in whatever way, and just the complications in communication, and sometimes the breaking down of communication. I think that's kind of cool. Like I said, this verse, directs it more towards a divine figure, but the first you could actually apply to any sort of relationship, even though, of course, it could still just be relating here to God as well. Really incredible song. Man, they shut up the critics on that one, huh? Let's move on. Second side, Elegia. Let me type it in and see if we can get a pronunciation here. The song comes up. A Latin term for elegy. It's also a moth. Okay, we're learning a little bit. Here we go. And it's instrumental. I love a good fade in on the halfway. is a key line. Did not expect that to come in like that. Fade out just like it came in. I love a track. Well, no. Back it up. I love an album that kind of clearly has two sides. Of course, at a certain time and era, you're going to have two sides of an album. But I love when the second side really feels like a new beginning. It really feels like, okay, we had an intermission. Let's kind of bring audiences back in a particular way. And this is a perfect track to do that. Scene setting, instrumental, deeply cinematic in scope, pulling out all of their best efforts in that synthy and, dare I say, kind of ambient progressive kind of way, and creating this really cool track that still features a lot of good instrumental passages, like in a human sense. You have the synths, you have the program, you have all that. Cool. You have the big explosive drums that eventually come in, but it's still very, very much steeped in the band. Not only from Sumner's guitar that comes in dastardly at the very end in a way I didn't even notice or didn't expect, I should say, but from the very beginning with the bass line and the way that hooks you in. Like, it's still very much steeped in who they are, but it's just so cool hearing how they've progressed and moved into certain directions. The minimalistic opening with that kind of key melody that it comes in, it kind of has this haunting, ominous kind of sound. And I know that, okay, this means elegy from what we heard, but this is just how I'm thinking. Because I saw that it also is like a type of moth, apparently. I can't help but think that sound is like a moth just kind of coming towards us, and it's a big one. It was small in the distance, but it's a big one. But there's something beautiful and mysterious about it as it's kind of flying towards us at dusk, and then it goes off on its way. And I think that this kind of captures a really deep mystical kind of aspect as well. I'm going to pull it up here real quick. All right. This to me is also kind of like Carpenter-esque a little bit. Like John Carpenter, like Halloween. There's something like haunting about that melody, right? And that deep, beautiful melody starts to come in and be filled. It's just a really cool way of opening this second side. And that nice elevating line there is also going to be backed up later on as the synth eventually does more of that, kind of hitting like a big ethereal kind of sunrise. If you don't mind me bringing them the previous track, it just sounds now glorious and big and grand and very majestic. And then Sumner's guitar here at the end. What a cool way to end that track, and what a cool way to kind of open us back up into the album. There is a Wikipedia article for this track as well. Let's see. It was released as the 5th track on the album. It was written as a tribute to Joy Division frontman Ian Curtis. The band had originally dissolved as a result of his suicide, after which the surviving members, of course, would later form New Order. Been in several pieces of media. Originally written for a film commissioned by ID Magazine. The song was inspired by Ennio Morricone's For a Few Dollars More score. It's a great score to work off. I guess knowing that I can kind of hear a little bit of that influence in that Western kind of way. I suppose I can kind of hear that. The film was never made. Yeah, it was. What? The film was never made. Oh, for a film commission. Oh, I'm so dumb. I was like, no, I've seen this movie a few times. It exists. Thought I was having some sort of moment. Causing it to be cut down for inclusion on Low Life. It was recorded during a single 24-hour session where it went under the working title Ben and Justin. The original recording had a duration of 17 minutes, which was edited down to 4:56. The full version was first featured on the box set, which had become rare over time. Huh. I could definitely hear this being a 17-minute track because, like I said, it does have a certain kind of ambience to it, a certain progressive kind of electronic sound to it. I could absolutely hear this being a longer song. I'm actually kind of curious. Let me see. I'm looking to see if I can find it here. If it's on Spotify, I don't know if it will be or not. We're not going to listen to the whole 17 minutes if it is, but I'm just kind of curious here. Full length version. Okay. We're giving it a skipping around. We're just so pretty much the same in the beginning. We're gonna skip to like 10. Can I tell you? It sounds pretty cool. And this is that kind of deep, meditative, but also still having an intensity kind of track that this would be the one to absolutely make that longer. Huh. Very interesting. Works in both senses. Let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be Sooner Than You Think. I love that percussive sound they bring in. Now we're back in the club. There it is.
Hello everyone, it's nice to be here. Come so far to see you all.
Sounds like something.
I can see your deep blue eyes. They sleep beneath the open sky. Before you stands one like your brother. Swear to God, he needs no other. But how can I afford to be here with you so carelessly? You know what you do is so unkind. We search for the life we need to find. There's right and there's wrong, and there's good and there's bad. There's an answer to this, I wish I had. Oh, you know what I mean, and yes you do. Oh, you know what I mean, and yes you do.
I feel like it's messy right there.
Well, we had a party in our hotel last night. It ended up in an awful fight. My friend left me in my heart too. I hope I don't end up like you. Oh, you know what I mean. Yes, you do. Oh, you know what I mean.
Sorry.
Yes, you do.
Kind of catchy.
Your dream is I
very rough strumming. So we're back to the club in this particular track, but we're a little bit more restrained. Like this isn't as overt as like The Perfect Kiss, but we're still hitting that direction, but kind of pulling back a little bit more subtlety. I love the way that Bernard's singing here. Yes, I do. There's something imperfect about it. There's some quiver in his voice that is so refreshing to hear. This isn't him perfectly singing in some overproduced, you know what I'm talking about, overproduced modern kind of way. There's just a normalcy to his voice, which we of course in the past had from Ian as well. But that adds such a unique distinction in the way that they sing, in the way that he performs here. And I think it works extremely well in the chorus. Because like I said, to me, there's something a little rougher around the
Open sky, but how can I afford to be?
He sings good, obviously.
So careless,
Trying to get some-
there's good and there's bad.
There was a moment though in the chorus.
I wish I had. Oh, you
Here.
know.
Even the production changes on his voice.
Yes, you do.
And what I like is that that's kind of undercut. It started raining. I told you it was going to start raining. What time is it? 11:22. It's pouring now. But I think that that's also undercut because the guitar and part of that drum hit a certain rough stride. There was someone walking outside, like just taking a walk, and they went by. It started raining. You might even be able to hear it, and they just went the other way. They got to run home. There's that undercut of like ugly guitar distortion and something on the snare that comes in right around the chorus that makes it a little bit rougher to the tone. And I just think that that adds a really cool texture that works very much in line with, like I said, his singing, and how there's a sense of, I don't know, just normalcy to the way he sings. He's not prettying it up or trying to add on airs. Obviously, the synth is so fun. And once again, kind of hitting that beautiful, grand kind of style as well. I love the way the music bubbles and the bass drives underneath it.
Oh, you face if I had tricked that.
Like the chorus.
I think I'll go there when it gets seasonable.
First of all, that melody reminds me of another song of which I cannot tell you what it is off the top of my head, but it sounds like another song that I can't think of. But I like that sound a lot. I like how it works within this track. I like how it's not so big and in your face, but it's still there. And it just adds to me this kind of, I don't know, a little bit of like a luxurious sound under there. Like, you know how I said if like Perfect Kiss, it has that red carpet kind of opening? This is during the gala, you know, no guests are further arriving, but there's still that sense of elegancy that's happening here. Alongside some rough guitar that you mentioned drives through. See, like here you can hear it in isolation. What song is that? That particular part, it sounds like another song, and I think it may be a song we've covered on the channel. Maybe not. It sounds like a song that I've heard. Maybe I'm on a personal playlist or something. Do you mind if I do it one more time? That melody. Is that Daft Punk? I don't know. Let's not stick too much on it. But awesome track. Love how once again it's that guitar strumming at the end. Very rough here to just push off. And it even has a little bit of a twang to it. You hear that bang lang dang lang? I don't know why I did it like that. But there's a definite twang to the way the guitar plays at the end, and I like how that they combine that so well with the electronic and synth aspects of the music that, can I tell you, so far, I think that this is pretty much a 5 out of 5 album. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here. I've come so far to see you all. I can see your deep blue eyes. They sleep beneath the open sky. Before you stands one like your brother. Swear to God he needs no other. But how can I afford to be here with you so carelessly? You know what you did was so unkind. You search for the life we need to find. There's right and there's wrong, and there's good and there's bad. And there's an answer to this I wish you had, or I wish I had. Oh, you know what I mean. Yes, you do. We had a party in our hotel last night and ended up in an awful fight. My friend left me in my heart too. I hope I don't end up like you. Hope I don't end up the same way you are. Your country is a wonderful place. It pales my England into disgrace. To buy a drink that is so much more reasonable. I think I'll go there when it gets seasonable. He goes in there again. Sooner than you think. I mean, there's definitely a conflict between him and this other person. And there's history between him and this other person as well. Before you stands one like your brother. Swear to God, he needs no other. But how can I afford to be here with you so carelessly? Like there's a risk to them being seen together, even in the same place, whether or not they're actually together. There's history there. There was a fight. My friend left me in my heart too. I hope I don't end up like you. Perhaps he hurt this person a long time ago, and now he's getting hurt himself, and he's feeling like he doesn't want to go through the same pain. I don't know. There's also a trip in his plans for the future, perhaps. Anything on this one? Nothing. I got nothing. Don't know, but it's a cool song. Let's move on to the next track here, which is Subculture. Not Sub Pop. Subculture. Kind of gothic-y. Is that a piece of music? Disco synth pop bass line.
When people work so hard, they need what they can keep. A choice that leaves them scarred. A view without a room unveils the truth so soon. And when the sun goes down, you've lost what you have found. What do I get out of this?
That's a very disco.
I always miss. One of these days you'll go back to your home. You won't even notice that you are alone. One of these days when you sit by yourself, you'll realize you can't chat without someone else. In the end you will submit. It's got to hurt you a little bit.
still include that part. What's that sound? Back to full effect. I love how that main groove from the beginning came back with the fullness of the song, with the fullness of the party at the very end. The opening, it sounds, I mean, it's like very synth harpsichord kind of sound. It sounds very inspired by like a piece of music that I don't know, but it just sounds very classical before that comes in. it kind of has something to it, right? That synthy harpsichord, it has a little bit of a Baroque kind of sound to it, I think. But I love how that's a really cool opening, almost a little bit gothy as well, before it starts to go into pure party mode. And this is kind of going back to Perfect Kiss, in which this is for the club. This is for the dancers. This is for the people on the side. And once again, can I just tell you how I really like how Sumner's voice is not like given any sort of like synthy production or anything. He sounds just incredibly normal, for lack of a better word, in the way he kind of half sings in this track throughout it. He actually sounds, production wise, he's very dry, not really any effects or really much given to him beyond whatever's necessary. And the music itself is, of course, very sleek and designed. And it's kind of cool how there's a contrast there, just audibly, between the two and between how they're both put into the mix here. And I think that works to great effect. You know, keeping a sort of, like I said, normalcy and realism in this from their post-punk kind of sound and giving it that synth pop bump, right? I love in the music when those double kicks come in. I just like that. It just pushes it a little bit. We get a little bit of that classic post-punk sound in the end here. Kind of like we've gotten in other tracks. When that comes in, like, you hear them always mixing it up and bringing it back to their roots. And then there's that really interesting sound at the end that comes up, which I'm not quite sure what it is. What was it? That. Wow. It sounds like it could be a snare, but given some sort of weird filter on top of it that makes it really pushed back in the distance, and it has a weird echo. It's distorted in a certain kind of way. It's like, it's barely percussive. I don't know. I think that's what it might be, but I may be wrong. I think that this track is, now we've hit a track that I think is good, but I don't think it hits any of the heights of every single other track previously on this album. I think this one's good, but I don't think it's great. But I think it's good. Also, in case you're wondering why I have RYM up here, it's because the credits are here. Because for some reason, on Wikipedia and every other site that I've been looking on, even on Discogs, they don't tell me who is playing what. They just tell me no order production and nothing else. So I had to look around, and that's why I have RYM up here, so I can actually see who's doing what. Because bands change and members leave, members go, and I never want to assume who's in the band. I like walking in the park when it gets late at night. I move around in the dark and leave when it gets light. I sit around by day, tied up in chains so tight. These crazy words of mine so wrong, they could be right. What do I get out of this? I always try, I always miss. One of these days you'll go back to your home. You won't even notice that you are alone. One of these days, when you sit by yourself, you'll realize you can't shaft without someone else. In the end, you will submit. It's got to hurt you a little bit. You can't shaft without someone else. Oh, Well, that's all. Okay. Well, there you go. I didn't know what it meant. I like talking in my sleep. When people work so hard, they need what they can't keep, a choice that leaves them scarred. A view without a room unveils the truth so soon, and when the sun goes down, you've lost what you have found. He's saying he's basically a creature of the night, right? He's in that subculture world, and that's where he finds himself. Like, literally, that's where he finds himself, but also that's where he is most himself. What do I get out of this? I always try, I always miss. One of these days, you'll go back to your home, you won't even notice you're alone. Like, this person that's joining him is perhaps only there for a temporary moment and not truly living the life, not truly in subculture, but it's just kind of a subculture tourist, if you will. But he says, in the end, you will submit. It's got to hurt you a little bit. Perhaps in the end, they'll be involved in this lifestyle or whatever it might be. Maybe. Let's move on into the final track here, which is going to be Face Up. But whoop at the end is icing. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Low Life. Full album listen from New Order. And we end in what is my least favorite song on the album. Don't want to dwell too much on the negative. It's not what I'm here for. But I don't care so much for the way that Sumner's singing here. I think that when he stretches out his voice into that higher range, I don't think it sounds as pleasing as it has throughout the rest of this album in every single way. And it sounds just a little bit forced. And musically, I don't know. There's something, like I said, I don't want to dwell negatively too long. There's something a little annoying about it. Beep, 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 beep. I don't know. I just don't like it. I struggle to find anything in this particular track that I enjoyed. I think that the album ends in a little bit of a letdown. Beginning's fine to an extent. But once it gets going, I like the drumming, but I don't care for the music behind it and around it. Yeah, I don't care too much for this one. Let's not stay too much on the positive though. Ever since I've seen your face, this life of mine, or let's not too focused on the negative. This life of mine has gone to waste. I was young and you were old, and I always knew you were cold. At the start you had a heart, but in the end you lost your friend. Can you see your own dark face? It's dying in a lonely place. Like he said, ever since I've seen your face, my life has gone to waste. Like perhaps the relationship with this other person, whoever it might be, has taken its toll on him. And it's hurting the both of them. How I cannot bear the thought of you. Oh, I cannot bear the thought of you. As we get old, we lose our place, reflecting back the world's disgrace. I feel so low, I feel so humble. Sometimes in life we take a tumble. Don't let anybody tell you that you're no good, because you know they would. Don't let anyone tell you what you should, because it's not that way. And I feel like this is him talking to us, like reflecting on his experiences with this person. He's telling us a cautionary tale of not to beware of those same pitfalls. We were young, we were pure, and life was just an open door. I said, oh, how I cannot bear the thought of you. You were me, I was you. This world of ours, it felt brand new. You took me a little further. I've heard it all before. I can't hear it anymore. Your hair was long, your eyes was blue. Guess what I'm going to do to you? I feel like perhaps he was taken advantage of, or maybe these people take advantage of each other. But either way, it wasn't a good situation. And in the end, everyone ended up being hurt. Looking at some of the information about this particular album, it's considered to be among the band's strongest work, displaying the moment they completed their transformation from post-punk to dance rock. It shows an increased incorporation of synth and samplers while still preserving the rock elements, of course. Let's see. Album's artwork is the only release from them to feature photographs of the band members on its cover. According to Seville, the designer, the decision to do this was due to him growing tired of his previous concept covers. To photograph the band, Seville took portraits of them with instant film, which he saw as more versatile than conventional 135 film, stating that you could push it and do funny things with it. It was very graphic and very dynamic. There is a certain cinema aspect to it. He stated that the band were initially reluctant to depict themselves in artwork. However, thanks in part to the rapid turnaround of instant film, they grew to enjoy the photo shoot after seeing the results. And that's Stephen Morse on the front cover here. That's kind of cool. While inside the case are 4 photographs with a semi-transparent piece of paper with the band's name, allowing consumers to choose which band member is seen through the sleeve. I think that's a really neat idea. Kind of breaking the fourth wall there a little bit with the artwork. In the end, in case you couldn't tell, my favorite tracks: Perfect Kiss, Sunrise, and then Elegia. Is that how you pronounce it? Elegia? Anyways, it's those 3 tracks. Those are the 3. You let me know. What do you think of the album? What are your favorite songs? Are your least favorite songs the last 2? Face Up definitely can go face down. But that's just me. But otherwise, this was a really, really great album with a lot of strong material. And almost the whole way through, I think that it's a 5 out of 5 for most of the album. Every song on here is just wonderful to listen to. But let me know what you guys thought down below. As you saw, Buy Me a Coffee's there, Patreon's there, the like button's somewhere down below, like probably over here, I guess, like somewhere down over here. Just click that, or maybe it's over here. I don't know where it is. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Come back tomorrow, and I will see you all then. Bye, guys.